Welcome back to Ear Training for the Working Musician. We're in Unit 2 on page 11 today if you're following along in the PDF or the book. Today we're going to be mostly focusing on rhythmic notation, melodic notation, as well as chord progression notation. We're skipping the intervals. So if this is something you need to practice, the ones that we are dealing with currently are the perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and perfect octave. You can always review the ones that we have done in the past as well. So the major and minor second, as well as the major and minor third. Go ahead and practice all of those on teoria.com. They have interval identification just the way we do it, and I feel like this is a really helpful thing to train yourself with. All right, today we're going to introduce a whole bunch of new rhythms, dealing with mostly 16th notes. We've done 8th notes in the last unit, so these 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and sorts of subdivisions. And now we'll move on to doing more 16th note subdivisions. I like to subdivide it this way: 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... If we were in a meter of 4/4, this would be 1 and 2E and a... Here's another with an 8th note and then 2 16th notes. This one would be subdivided 3 and a. And then the opposite of that, starting 2 16th notes followed by an 8th, would be 4E and. I actually like to use the Let's Play Music method for these 16th note subdivisions as well. They assign insects with these rhythms to help people remember them. I don't know, it works. My little brother was in Let's Play Music, and so I watched him actually at an age where I was teaching music. I watched him take music lessons, and so witnessing this teaching method as a teacher myself, I kind of have utilized some of the ideas from it in some regard, and this is one of the things that have stuck with me. So they do, for 8th notes, we would say beetle. For 16th notes, we would say caterpillar. The 8th followed by 2 16ths would be grasshopper. And then 2 16ths followed by an 8th would be butterfly. So if I were to clap this, we'd have beetle, caterpillar, grasshopper, butterfly. We're going to deal with these rhythms now in 3/4. I'm giving you an 8th note to start with, and then a quarter note to end with. For the simple meter rhythmic notation portion, it says notate the rhythms in the spaces provided using combinations of 16th notes, 8th notes, quarter notes, rests, and ties. Okay? And before we go into the wild with this is a new type of rest that you could potentially see. It's the 8th rest, okay? So just be aware that you might have that pop up. Like I said, this is pitchless. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3. Ready, set, go. Here it is again. Ready, set, go. Okay, try to focus on either the insect method, the Let's Play Music method that we were just utilizing for this first measure, or subdividing the 1E and a 2E and a 3E and as. Listen for just the first measure. Ready, set, go. Okay, let's talk about it. So I heard da 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 in the first measure. So if I were to assign insects, it would be grasshopper, beetle, butterfly. So it starts with the eighth note, so then we'd have 2/16, or one and a. One and a, and then we said beetle, which is two and. And then we have butterfly, which is 3 and. Okay, here it is again. Ready, set, go. Did you catch measure 2? It starts the same way with the grasshopper. And I didn't tell you, for quarter notes, you would just say bug. So this would go grasshopper, bug, or 1 and a 2. And then we had this caterpillar, or 3 and a. All right, let's listen again. Ready, set, go. Okay, did you get the third measure or hear that it also starts the same way with this grasshopper? Okay, let's listen again. Ready, set, go. So we had this grasshopper, butterfly, bug in this measure. Grasshopper, so butterfly is then the 2/16 followed by an 1/8. And then we have bug is just that quarter note on beat 3. So this would go 1 and a 2 and 3. Let's listen to it one more time for this last measure. Ready, set, go. If I were to just sing that last measure to you, it would go ya da da dee da dum, or 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a. So 1 and, or butterfly. But this fly is going to, you can either notate it like this, where you go 2/16 notes with an 8th note, and then you tie it to another 8th note, and then it will be followed by 2/16 because we have this and a 3. So you have this 1 and a 2 and a 3. Let me show you the other way that you could notate it potentially. Instead of making it a tied 8th note, you could just make this quarter note. So you do 2/16 followed by 2/16. I actually prefer the tied version because I feel like it's easier to tell the subdivisions. You can clearly see the beats. Okay, on to the next rhythm. This time we're going to be in 4/4. It's going to just be dealing with note values similar to the exercise we just did. I give you a 16th note to begin, and you end with a half note. Let's listen to it. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, set, go. When I have examples like this that feel long, since it's 4 beats and 16th note subdivisions, I tend to hold on to the ending. So like this, dee da 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 da, which would be beetle, caterpillar, bug. Or 1 and 2 E and a 3. Let's listen again. Ready? 2, set, go. First measure, we had caterpillar. And then it had grasshopper, or 1 E and a 2 and a. Let's listen again. Ready? Go. So we have this 1 E and a 2 and a. Did you notice that this is going to be tied over into an 8th note's worth? And then we had 8th quarter. So this 1 E and a 2 and 4. Okay, kind of syncopated in this regard. This is why it's really, really important to always subdivide. Just either 8th notes as 1 and 2 and, or 1 E and a 2 E and a, etc. I kind of subdivide in multiple ways, so I'll have my foot tapping the quarter note, and then internally I'll kind of feel this. Okay, so that's something that you should also start doing if it's not natural. Let's listen again. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so next measure starts the same way with this caterpillar. The 16th notes continue for a little bit, so then we have this butterfly. Caterpillar, butterfly. 1 E and a 2 E and. We had this 3 and 4. Or this would go caterpillar, butterfly, beetle, bug. Listen again. Ready? Go. So third measure began with a rest. Let's see how long. Ready? Go. it's that new rest, because then we come in on the and of 1. So we had this and a 2 and. Then we had this 3 E and 4. Let's clap this one through. We didn't clap the last one, so if you want, you can go ahead and try that on your own, but here's this one. Ready? 2, set, go. 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and 4. 1 E and a 2 E and 3 and 4. And a 2 and 3 E and 4. 1 and 2 E and a 3, 4. If this is feeling really hard, go back, listen to this a few more times. I feel like it's a practice. This is something that you need to continually drill, work on, and get better at. And it's something that really anybody can learn if you have hearing capacity, okay? All right, next let's move on to the simple meter melodic notation portion. It says notate the pitches and rhythms in the spaces provided. The melody moves by seconds, thirds, fourths, or fifths using note values similar to the above exercises. This melody today is going to be in the key of G major. We're beginning on sol on an 8th note and ending on do on a quarter note. Here's the key. Starting pitch is that sol. 1, 2, ready, go. Here it is the second time. 1, 2, ready, go. So we had sol to here, sol la ti do re, sol re. And then that kept stepping up to a mi. These are all within one beat. This grasshopper, grasshopper. Sorry that my notes are slanted. We'll just go with it. Grasshopper bug. And that goes to do. I feel like that's one thing. If I play this key for you, hold on to that do for dear life, since that tends to be really important musically. Here it is again. Ready? Go. After that one, I actually pick up on the last one. In this next listen through, try to hold on to the last measure. Ready? Go. So last measure sounded da 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 da. So we started here, which is, if this is do, this is re. And it goes re, mi, fa, butterfly, or 1 E and then that 2, and that's do, re, mi, fa, do. Okay, let's listen to these inner measures next. Ready? Go. So second measure started on this pitch. The very beginning of the piece started on this. So if this is sol, this is la. And we ended up la to here, la, ti, do, re. So we go back up to that re. So la, re, mi, fa. since these are all stepping. La, re, mi, fa. So this one is now, instead of doing eighth followed by 2/16, it goes 2/16 followed by an eighth, just like the last measure. So after this fa, let's just see where it ends up on bar 3. Hold on to the fa. Ready? Go. After the fa, we went here, fa, sol. So sol, do, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, mi, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Can you hear that? The skipping? It's just the one chord. Sol, mi, do, sol. And it's the same rhythm as the first measure, that grasshopper, or 1 and a 2. Okay, let's try singing this on solfege. Just do whatever octave feels best for your voice. Ready? Go. Sol, re, mi, do, la, re, mi, fa, sol, mi, do, sol, re, mi, fa, do. Okay, if you need to listen to it a couple more times, that is totally fine. Just go ahead and rewind it. But let's go on to the chord progression notation portion next. All right, just like last time, we're just going to be dealing with root position triads. It says notate the root position triads in the measures below using whole notes. Provide a Roman numeral analysis below and a chord symbol analysis above. The chord progressions emphasize the use of the tonic, which is the 1 chord, subdominant, which is the 4 chord, dominant, which is the 5 chord, and submediant, which is the 6 chord. And these are all just triads, no 7th chords, okay? To me, these 4 chords are like the most common in pop music, so I feel like it's really important to be able to notate these by ear and just be able to tell what chord we're going to. For this first example, because we don't always need to start on tonic, we're beginning on this, so we have the notes A, C, E, and so in the key of C, this would be considered a 6 chord. We'd call it lowercase 6. Chord symbol above, I have to put it to the side slightly, but we put it A, and I'll put a minus for minor, okay? You can also put a lowercase m, either way works. Just a reminder, I'm playing more than just these chords, but this is really the basis of what's going on. Let's go ahead and give this a try. Here's your key, and here's the chord progression. Here it is again. Listen for the bass movement, so bass is starting on here we go. And when doing these chord progressions, it's not following 4-part writing rules, like it's going to be parallel fifths the whole time. So we have this La, need you here, went to here, which is La, Sol, Fa, La, Fa. Listen again. Something else you can do is hold on to the do, because the do applies to the it applies to the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 6 chord. It'll fit within all of those. And so it would not fit within the 5 chord. It should be pretty clashing. So hold on to do and see where it starts clashing. Here's do. gives us a hint that this one is the 5 chord or the dominant chord. It's just root position and it's diatonic. So this is a 4 chord. Did you catch what this one is? It does descend. How far? Here we go. You have this da 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 da. That's do. So that's a 1 chord. So here we have submediant, subdominant, tonic, and dominant in action. I feel like this is a really common chord progression. You've probably heard it. Like if I were to funk it up and play it a little bit more than just triads. It's all over the place in pop culture. Chord symbols, we have A minor. This, you just express the root, so it's just an F, and it's major, so you leave it. This is C as the root, and G as the root. Okay, let's go on to another example. This time, we're still in the key of C, but we're starting on this chord. We have C, E, G, which this is a 1 chord or tonic, so our chord symbol above would just be a capital C. Here's our key. It's the same chords, just reorganized. So now listen for this bass line again, starting on do. Here we go. I looped it twice. Hopefully that was okay with you. But we have this do to here, do, ti, la. And building it off of a la is the 6. So here's that capital A minor. To here, and then we go to down to here. So it continues a little skipping pattern of la, sol, fa, which is that 4 chord, capital F for a chord symbol, and then that just steps right back up after that to sol, which is a 5 on G. Here we go. That 1 down to here, down to here, down, and then up to here. Okay. This is like that heart and soul. Okay, so all over the place as well in pop culture. It's a good one to just know. 1, 6, 4, 5. And then let's just do one more chord progression today. All right, this time we're in the key of C, starting on this chord, F, A, C. So this is the 4 chord. Our chord symbol would be capital F. Here's your key again. We're starting here. Here we go, let's try this out. Okay, I just looped it twice. So we had this fa, did you notice it just stepped to sol? Also notice my cute puppy just resting in his tiny bed right there. It was his puppy bed and he grew out of it, but now he still sleeps in it, which I think is so cute. But anyway, we have fa, and then we have sol, which is the 5 chord. Here it is again. So we had fa, sol, and then we jumped all the way down. So we had fa, sol, and then we jumped all the way down to do, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So here's that do. And honestly, so my book, I actually have it written up here. And that's okay too, like in the answer key. It doesn't matter which octave you put it in my exams. For this portion, it's just a matter of getting the chord progression correct. So this is 4, 5, then we have 1, which is C. And then did you notice it went down and it sounds a little bit more sad in the last chord? So it's that minor 6 again. So we have this 4, 5, 1, and then we go down to here, 1, 7, 6. Okay. So we ended up on the 6, which same thing, I wrote it up an octave in my answer key, but it's fine if you do it down here. Capital A, lowercase m. All right. So if you're like, how the heck do I even practice this sort of thing? What I would do, go listen to a whole bunch of 1950s doo-wop music, because it's going to utilize a lot of these chord progressions. Same with early rock and roll. So go ahead and check those out. I feel like Taylor Swift also has a lot of music in the key of C with chord progressions similar to this. So listening to her discography, if you just look up Taylor Swift songs in the key of C, then it'll be dealing with a lot of these same chords. Happy practicing!